All right, I'm going to do a better job explaining where the formula came from. If you don't want to know where the formula came from, you got too much going on, it's okay. But I think I did a bad job of explaining it. So I'm going to go back from the beginning to understand where the formula comes from for the derivative of arc sine x. So one of the questions was this: y equals arc sine x. Could you graph that? Understand the right triangle that comes from it. So inverse trig means you're given the sides, and it's the angle you don't know. So inside the side you're given, think of this as x over 1, opposite over hypotenuse. And then we did the work here to solve for that missing side. And when we solve for that missing side, this is what we ended up with, the square root of 1 minus x squared. That's the denominator for the rule. Now, if I go back to understand what inverse means, the x and y have been flipped. So instead of y equals sine x, the inverse is x equals sine y. So y equals sine x. What's the inverse of that? The x and y have been flipped. Take the derivative of this, the derivative with respect to x. So the derivative of x with respect to x is 1. The derivative of sine y with respect to x would be, what's the derivative of sine? That's cosine. And then the hook, the implicit part, what's the derivative of y with respect to x? Would be y prime. So the rule for sine is cosine, and because it's with respect to x, you need the y prime connected to it. How would you get y prime by itself? You would divide by cosine y. That's the derivative that you're looking for. And then cosine y, what does that equal? Well, we go back to this triangle and say, oh, what did cosine y equal? We did that one over here. Cosine y is adjacent over hypotenuse. That is that answer right there. That's what cosine y equaled right there when we do the triangle. Adjacent over hypotenuse. So where there's cosine y, I put in 1 square root of 1 minus x squared, and that's where you get the definition. For inverse sine. So again, there are 3 rules. You have to memorize it, use it, practice them, and we'll go from there. Good luck.